Hi, I'm Jade,
And I'm Yohance.
and welcome to our channel,
Get
Get
into
Into
the
the Black,
black.
where we share with you our experience living here in Puerto Rico. In today's video is going to be a continuation of our last video, which was about our landlord from hell. We mentioned in that video we had some neighbors that we called Eminem. And somebody hit us up afterwards, like, "Oh, I would love to hear the rest of the story about what Eminem had did." So, so we decided this would be a great opportunity for us to provide that story time for y'all, since at least somebody was interested.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into that. But before we do, we want to give a shout out to our Airbnb that we're in. This is La Perla Verde. It's in San Juan, the city of Santurce, and it's been the best thing that's happened to us besides us moving here, having our kids here. This is probably the third best thing, fourth best thing, because we got a good community. But this is one of our bread and butter, our baby and our joy. La Perla Verde. It's a multi-family home that has 3 units. One that we're in right now is a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, a little bit over 1,000 square feet. And the upstairs is the same thing, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, a little bit over 1,000 square feet. And we have a studio that we do midterm rental. So for those who are thinking about, hey, I want to come to Puerto Rico and hang and live like a local, definitely check that one out. The link to our Airbnb will be in the description. And if you're interested in doing Airbnb and would like our support and our guidance, please follow the link in the description and you can sign up with us. We get a little kickback, you get a little kickback, and then we can help support you get started because we got this thing down to a system where we stay at 80% or higher booked throughout all three of the units that we operate. So, love for you guys to support us on that. Make sure you comment, you like, and you subscribe.
Yes, yes. And we get a lot of people who contact us letting us know that they're going to come to Puerto Rico to visit, or they just want to communicate and talk with us. The best way you can make sure you're going to get personalized attention from us is to book with us.
Yes.
We're very busy. We have a baby at home. He's
Mm-hmm.
about to be 2. We're about to be newer parents are. We're about to give birth.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's what we call it.
yeah, I'm like, what would you call it? We're gonna be giving birth soon too, so we're just really busy. So that is the best way to make sure that you'll be able to make contact with us while you're here.
Absolutely. All right,
Yes.
so let's do it.
Yes, with that being said, let's get on into this video. So I guess we will start with giving a little backstory. I'm also going to put the video somewhere in here, the video to the landlord story, so you can kind of watch that and then come watch this so you can kind of get some context of what's going on. But the situation we're going to be describing is the gate situation when everything went down and we found out exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
But how it all started is we moved into this apartment building. All our friends were there. Great. We were chumming it up with all the neighbors. We had a whole group chat thing going on. Even people who had used to live there in the apartment building were in this group chat. It was nice, a nice community. Then all of a sudden, one day, the gate started getting locked. And the issue with this gate is the fact that once you're inside the building, you still need a key to get out. So it wasn't like the kind where you need a key to get inside, but once you're inside, you just can open it up and leave out. No, you had to have a key to also get out too.
Very ancient.
Yeah, I was like, there's no release, and there was no emergency release on the door or nothing. And immediately my, spidey senses, my social worker brain was like, this is not very safe, because what if something happens and now the person has to remember to grab their key? Like, what if it's a fire or something? And there's no way to release this gate? That doesn't sound like a good idea.
as well as what if someone just moved in and the landlord is incompetent and they didn't make sure that the person had all the keys that they needed? Or what if the case that you have two people name on the lease, so you're allowed to have two sets of people, but you give them one set of key and you don't give them a key to everything? Or there's always a or. You just change the locks and don't give anybody the key except one person, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things that just didn't make sense.
Yes, and that was just on the part of our landlord because they were just the whole system they had set up was just very disorganized. And when it came to like on rolling people or people new people moving in, it just seems kind of like all over the place. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like a clear process where they knew like this is your packet as new people and
Mm-hmm.
it's two of you so you get two keys. These are the keys for each lock. I don't even remember anybody going through anything with us. I feel like our keys were in a lockbox.
Yeah, they were in the lockbox. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and no one like checked us in or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. So just in preference to that is that we are small business owners, and yeah, we don't have everything systemized like if we're enterprise or some large company, but we do understand like if someone wants to bring this to us, we're like, oh, you're right. We'll work with them. We wouldn't
Yeah.
catch an attitude or try to what do you call reflect and try to make them feel like they're being wrong or something like that. So that was just the biggest issue, and this led up to how we start seeing the problems with the landlord because this posed an issue. Like, hold on.
Yeah. And at the time I was pregnant and
Mhm.
there was no form of like exit in our apartment building besides the regular front door exit.
Right.
So there it wasn't like if something happened like a fire or something, I could just go out a window. Like I had a second option. There were no second options.
Yeah.
It was only that one way out for me. So my concern was big belly. I for sure can't go out the window. There's no ledge or anything. It's just straight fall down. So
Hmm.
I'm like, what would I do if something happens? And as you'll see, if you guys go back and reference that video, we mentioned how we were having electrical problems too. So a fire was a real situation that could possibly happen in this place.
And these buildings are old, and what we're coming to learn that a lot of stuff is not necessarily built to code here.
Yeah.
And when you're in that situation, like what do you do? So our and we're coming fresh out of this is our first year from America. So we did have our I would say mainland views of how
Yeah.
things should work, but we wasn't by any means of like oblivious, like thinking things are supposed to be perfect, but it
Yeah.
was just the reality of like, oh, things are really different and this is how. And that's something you only can get through situations and time. You have to go through those situations and be, if you are a developed person, can come back like we're doing now and sit and reflect and say, what was the lesson to be learned in that situation? So I don't repeat that lesson again. Yeah, you'll be living like I think those are the people who leave situations like this, Puerto Rico, or anytime they move or do something different, they like, you know what? They how do they don't think about how they could have learned from that. They're like, it was just a horrible place and this and that. And then you talk to
Yeah.
someone else and they're like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. I went through that as well. So
Yeah. Which
yeah.
it wasn't too bad. It was just this was the onset of the issues with neighbors.
Hmm.
So what ended up happening is all of a sudden then this gate starts getting locked. I kind of think I know why the gate was starting to get locked. And the people kind of mentioned why they were locking it, which apparently there was a situation that happened. And this is where it was kind of weird. So they claim they were locking it because there was a situation that had happened like a year or so prior where
Hmm.
someone came from the apartment building next door and came over and like knocked a plant down or something.
Yeah, some of like the paintings they had in the
Yeah.
hallway area, and it was a part because the place was split between long term rentals and Airbnb, so it was
Yeah,
easy
they
to
just
confuse.
yeah, they
It
accidentally
looks the
came to the
same.
wrong side and knocked the plant down. And
You know, the drunken night falling
yeah,
over and
yeah,
stuff. Like,
yeah.
where's my place and all this
But it
stuff.
was super minor. It was not like
Got
somebody,
assaulted or something.
yeah, or broke into their house or something. It was just some minor stupid people being drunk. But the odd part about that whole story for me was, and it was like, why did you decide then a year or so later to start locking the gate? Which I don't believe that is the actual problem. I think what happened was we had a neighbor who would sometimes have his friends over, and they're a little loud, and I think the other neighbors was trying to control the access to the building, like who's coming in and who's coming out and stuff like that. So what ends up happening though, because this gate started to get locked and people are like, what's going on? Everyone's kind of like, why all of a sudden is this gate getting locked? We started talking about it in the group chat, and we're talking about it, trying to figure out who it is. We're laughing. We think it's someone who works for like the company. Like we thought it was the cleaning lady or something like that. Yeah. We're like, why were they telling her to suddenly come lock this gate? This is so weird. So we had all pretty much decided upon ourselves that we were going to ensure that the gate was unlocked. And we had left for, did we leave for a weekend or something? Why were we gone?
Let me jump in now. Okay, so we went. Your mom and them were visiting, and so we went to. Are you talking about when they got locked in?
Yeah,
when the guy got locked in, the new neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to that, there's one little part. There was a time that one of my buddies that came over, and we were all standing outside, and we were talking in this little like kind of courtyard area, and we're just standing out there talking. And one of the M and M's, the pink M and M, is it pink or yellow?
Yellow. I don't think there's
Yellow.
any
I don't
pink
think it's a pink
M&Ms.
M&M.
Yeah.
So the yellow M&M, she comes and was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" I'm like, I'm like, "How you doing?" I'm talking to her like, "What's going on? How's everything going? Everything's good and stuff like that." And so we were talking about like, yeah, the gate keeps getting locked, and I was like, "Yeah, that's crazy." I was like, you know, it's an issue because Jade is pregnant and we're having electrical issues. Where the lights are dimming because the water's not hot and all this stuff. And she goes, "Oh, congratulations. She's pregnant. I seen her, but I wasn't sure yet," and all this stuff, right? We're having a full blown conversation with this person, right? Remind you, Jay just told you we've been talking in the group chat at this time about this. And we're having this whole conversation like we're trying to figure out who's locking the gate because Jay doesn't have a key. They never gave us two sets of keys and a key for the gate, right? So Yellow M&M gets all this information and doesn't say anything like, "Oh, it's us and this is the reason why." You know what I mean? And I'm like, huh. And I had gave her, so then she offers this information, says, you know, if you do decide to leave, because we were thinking about like, we were thinking about renewing our lease, but like, I don't know. She was like, well, what's his name who used to live here? He's known for not giving the deposit back and just trying to do a little shady stuff. This is the landlord. I said, oh, bet. Okay. So this is who we're playing with. Okay, so that's why we came up with the strategy we told you in the last video, how we end up leaving and breaking the lease in the most amicable way as possible to where it's just kind of a clean, fair break. No one lost any money or anything like that. Everyone got the time and the money that they deserve. And then we get to the situation where a new neighbor comes in.
Yes, I don't. So we were at my mom's. We kind of stayed with them,
We went to Isabella. Yep. Yeah, we went to Isabella that day.
and we just got back late. Is that what it
It
was?
was like 10 o'clock. Yep.
Yeah, 'cause
10,
I
11
was like,
o'clock.
why
We
were
dropped
we
them off and came
entering in
back.
the house so late? But yes, okay, so I'm sorry. But yeah, so we arrived to the house and we're walking up the steps and the gate is locked again. I'm like, oh shoot.
Here
So
we go again.
yeah. So I pull my key out and I'm unlocking the gate. This guy runs out of his apartment, scares the living bejeebus out of me.
Good to have enough.
Yo, I was like, oh, because first off, he's new, so I've never seen this
Never
man.
seen this man before.
And he comes running out his apartment, out his apartment.
New Yorker.
And just scared me, and I'm pregnant. I'm like, oh, hey. And he's like, are you locking the gate? And I'm like, no. I'm like, who is locking the gate? Do you know who's locking the gate?
And who are you, sir?
Yeah, pretty much. I talked to him briefly, and I'm friendly, but I'm not about to sit here and chop it up with you the whole time. I was kind of tired too. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm pregnant, so I was just like, I don't know who's locking the gate. I'm still a little startled, so I just kind of take my stuff and go to the house. I tell Yo what happens. He goes downstairs and he goes and talks to the guy.
Yeah, because I made a point with it being such a small, like a building, like in case something happens, I want to be able to call my neighbor. Hey, are you home? Can you go check on Jade? Or if my neighbor needs something, like it's community. And one of the things we read about Puerto Rico and Latin countries and stuff is, and our Latin friends back home, Mexican, El Salvadorian, although like very community based, right? So I made sure being that I was going to know all the neighbors and all the people as much as I possibly could. And so I went down there to say, hey, are you okay? What's going on? You startled my wife. What's happening? To not check him. He always says it like I went to go check him, but I went to go check up on him and the situation to make sure everything was good. And then we ended up spending like 40 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was
having a beer. He was like, "You want a beer?" And he's become one of my good friends here in Puerto Rico. And but his situation was he had just was going through a hard time, and his friends were visiting, and they were saying, "Hey, come out with us. I know you're going through a hard time. You just moved, all this stuff," and they were trying to cheer him up, right, and invite him out. And so he comes home. And again, Eminem would want to, like, around 7 o'clock. They would, like, nighttime. They were locking it at this point, so they just started locking it all the time. But that's what they were doing, and he ended up missing that opportunity to be able to go and celebrate his friends. I think it was their anniversary, as well as kind of have that community. So think about the anxiety that he had to deal with. Just moved to a place, can't get out, doesn't know anybody or can call anybody because it's 8, 9 o'clock. The landlord is not picking up or texting back or anything like that. He did, and he told him he'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, so he was stuck in there overnight.
He's like, you ain't got nowhere to go. He said, "Oh, we'll get your key tomorrow."
Yeah.
So I need to leave now, and he didn't even attempt. The landlord, the slumlord from Puerto Rico, didn't even attempt to say, "Hold on, let me call someone, let me find out what's going on," and like why they shouldn't be locking the gate, knowing that everyone doesn't have a key yet.
Yeah.
He wouldn't take any responsibility. This reminds me of. Sorry, it just hit me. It's when you have a boss, and you go to your job and you tell your boss, "Hey, this person is stealing sales. They're doing this. They're doing that." And like, I would like to report them. And you go to your boss, and they say, "Oh, okay." And then your boss comes to you, "Why are your sales numbers not up? Why are this going to, like, well, I reported to you that every time I go and try to help, they're bringing people up and they're not supposed to. Like, this is an issue that I brought up to you. You're not taking any responsibility. Why won't you go talk to that person?" This was the same thing. We're like, "Hey, this is an issue." So that's how we got to the second thing.
Yeah. So we go to the group chat to tell everyone what happened. First, we put the new neighbor into the group chat and we're welcoming him. We're laughing. I'm calling him Rapunzel because he was stuck in the apartment building, and it's funny because he has a bald head. So it's the funniest part. But yeah, so this is all going on in the chat. So Eminem sees all of this. They still haven't said a word. So we have no idea still who's locking the gate. So we're still thinking it's the housekeeper, and she's doing it before she leaves for the night. So then what ends up happening is one day we're like joking about something. I forget who was over there. Was it the new neighbor? And Okay, it was the new neighbor was over, and I say, oh yeah, when we were, should I share this part? When we were in high school, we put super glue inside of the keyhole so our teachers couldn't open up the door.
Yeah.
The door. So then I don't know who came up with this, but suddenly super glue ends up happening, or super glue ends up in the keyhole.
Right, now we talked about this in the whole group, so we don't know who did it, but
yeah,
like saying, because it's funny because like culturally we make fun of people and things to make light of it, to get towards it, and so we're just making fun of stuff like the Rapunzel and like, oh, tape the doorknob and lock and
just
stuff,
saying
right?
different stuff that happened to the door.
Right, trying to make light of this situation that we really think is a serious situation.
Yeah, and I mentioned the super glue, and then somehow the next day the lock now doesn't work anymore. I'm like, interesting.
That was a Friday, I want to say.
So we're still trying to figure out. Then the lock ends up getting broken pretty much, so you can't lock it anymore. We're cheering, yay!
Finally, now they will replace the lock with the proper one, right?
Yeah.
Now that it is broken, what will be the next thing to do for safety and just in general that your people are asking for? Let's just go ahead and give it to them, right?
Yeah. These people put the same lock back on though.
Next day. So I'm like, hey, I noticed they're putting the same lock on. Why are you doing that, dummy? Like that's what I end up saying. Like, why are you doing that? Oh, it's a what do you say? A security issue. And I typed back, no, it's a lawsuit issue, fool.
So they end up putting the same lock back onto the gate. So we're like in the chat again talking mess, like, why the heck would you put the same lock back on the gate when everyone's complaining about not having a key and how we can't release it from the inside? Why can't you just put a better lock on the gate? So then I think that the lock got messed up on Friday. They fixed it on Saturday. And then on Sunday, the new neighbor was pretty much, he was like on a mission. He's like, I'm going to find out who's locking this gate. And because by this time, they're locking it every single time someone leaves now. We're like, wait, I just left the gate and I left it open. It's locked again?
Like I went to my car to go get something and now I can't get back in.
Yeah. So it's getting locked fairly quickly. The new neighbor, I'm in the house and I'm like, babe, is someone screaming? Are people arguing?
Yep.
And he's like, no one's arguing. Nothing's happening. I was like, maybe I'm tripping. I swear I hear some people arguing. And then next thing you know, the chat starts getting blowed up.
Yep.
Because the new neighbor is like, I found out who it is. It's Eminem. It's been Eminem locking this
yellow
gate.
And red Eminem.
Yeah, they're running behind people locking the gate. So they had gotten into some big argument.
Yeah.
And that's what I heard them arguing with each other. But then now the chat is getting blowed up because Eminem is trying to defend themselves about locking this gate. And that's when they disclosed, like, oh, they feel like it's a what did they say? It's a security issue.
Yep.
So Eminem, they just kept locking this gate, and this whole argument blows up between everyone in the chat, which is pretty much all the other neighbors, and then them.
Yeah, and the funny part is I remember making a video that I was going to post. I was so upset, and I sat in front of their steps and was talking reckless. I was going in on them. And so we were just going back and forth. And I was like, man, I'm not gonna post this. This is unnecessary. But I was like really, really upset about that. And because what was happening, because the gate is here and their place is right here, so they would just look once they hear the gate, because it's a metal gate, so they hear da-da-dum like shut, and then they would like I've called the yellow Eminem looking or the red Eminem looking, right? And I would just say wild stuff to him sometimes. And then I just would be like, you know what? It ain't worth it. And that's when I decided, because I was like, this whole time I was sitting there talking about how Jade is pregnant and how could be an issue. And the real safety part about it they did not care and just smiled and kikied in my face, and it was them the whole time, and
Yeah.
wasn't gonna say nothing. It didn't have the cojones to say anything about it.
Yeah. So it was just a big fight, argument.
Yeah.
That's when they disclosed that they were locking it because they felt like it was for security purposes because of the story I gave somebody a year ago. That was like, you guys aren't even making any sense. So something happened
Yeah.
like almost 2 years ago, and then now suddenly now you want to lock the gates.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of this is actually making any type of rational sense because then you would have been locking the gate.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say something that's not popular, but this is where being a renter and owner, I learned the difference. You know, when owning this home, the way my neighbors who actually own the home, own their properties, communicate and talk is so much different than when you're a renter. These people have been renting for like since that person's owned the building, if not before, right? They are like serial renters and like never gonna buy a place, right? They were here when prices was super cheap and still never bought anything, right? So the thing is that like I noticed when people are renting, they have a certain type of entitlement that they think someone else should do for them, and it's just not realistic. And I had spoke about it. I said, look, we should be working together as a community like a union. Like, hey, this is a problem. We all come together, right? Kind of like a HOA type of situation. Say, hey, this needs to be fixed. But if you refuse to work with us, like everyone is saying, yeah, that is a problem. Yeah, you are pregnant. Yeah, these are an issues. They took it upon themselves to go against everyone else and would never have an actual conversation with us, right? And that's why I realized I lost all respect for red M&M and yellow M&M as well. It was like because they're a group, right? And I mean, they would, oh my gosh, get drunk and be loud as hell. Like the
That's how I
people
knew it
there
was a
complain.
Sunday. That's how well
Exactly.
always because that's
The-
when yellow M&M would get
yeah, they go to
toasted.
the oh my gosh, they man, let me tell you, toasted is a good term to use.
Yes, that's what I remember. And she was the one that was wilding.
Yeah, they're talking the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I'm glad I never got into it. I never got a chance to do an argument with them, but yeah, it's something that I remember. They were like, "Yeah, come on up to the rooftop and do a little barbecue with us and drink with us and stuff." And I would felt so bad. I was like, "Man, I never got a chance to go because again, we would either be gone traveling doing something or you know what I mean. It was we just never got the chance to hang with them, and I now I know why. God did not want me to be friends with those people. He protected me.
Yeah, because they were a mess. They're like just those kind of people who try to befriend you, but they actually are doing like sneaky stuff
Oh yeah, sneak
behind
dissing
your
on
back.
you.
Because I don't understand why they couldn't just share with the group why they were
That's
locking the
why I
gate.
knew it was bull because I'm like, what you're talking about would make sense if you didn't do it the way you went about it. Like you could have just told us so we could all work together. Like we know the landlord's on some little shaky stuff. He don't be giving deposits back. He don't be responding. So why wouldn't you try to work together with your people, right? Especially you got people who are vocal and they're talking up and stuff. But to take stuff in a vigilante way in your own hands, when you didn't even really attempt to try to do anything, is the what I have a problem with.
Yeah, it was just very strange
Mm-hmm.
to move in that manner. It didn't really make any sense to us.
Not at all.
Yeah, but you could tell that they felt ownership of that building, like their door for one.
Was a wood nice door. Like
Yeah,
I was
like they
like,
bought it from Home Depot or something. Like they were like, I'm gonna stay here forever, so I'm gonna update my door. It looks more like a door
a
that belongs to
home, a
a
house.
house.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
like the door we have actually.
yes.
Yeah,
This was not like a door you would see on an apartment. You're like, you got this nice wooden
right.
door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell that probably because back in the day when I looked at it, it was all one big house. I think they cut it up and
Mm.
added stuff as they
That would make
developed.
sense why some stuff was kind of weird. Like
Yeah,
the layouts of some
the
places were a
layouts
little
didn't make
funky.
it funky yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's pretty much it to the story. So
Yeah.
yeah, and there's still drama that's going on. We finally left the chat because it was just kind of crazy, but I'm still connected with some of the folks over there, and they are still wilding, still doing crazy stuff, and it's just got to a point where it just don't make sense.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you if you stayed to the end of this video. If you have any comments about future videos or things you would like for us to talk about, please let us know. You're going to start seeing more videos probably with just Yo by himself as we get closer to our due date. Um, and I will just be going through postpartum, dealing with new baby, and our 2-year-old genius who's just he's wild.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we're gonna actually show a video soon too of him. We took him to the children's museum, so that'll be exciting. So you guys can share in that moment and see kind of like how he is. We haven't really posted him in a minute of him doing stuff. So
I know.
yeah,
See the development. So yeah, so make sure you like. Come on, press that like button. It's free. Comment is free. And subscribe if you haven't. Share this with people who that you think will enjoy our content. We're growing and we're looking to expand our YouTube channel and things that we can do with the community. We're looking to build community and we want to build the short-term rental community here in Puerto Rico. So make sure you check out our YouTube. And if you want to get any consultations on how to move to Puerto Rico, strategizing, feel free to reach out to us. Salmonholding.com is our website where you can make an appointment with me to be able to do a specific strategy plan with you and how you're going to move here and if it's a good fit for you or not. So we appreciate you. We love you guys, and we will see you in the next one.
Yes. Oh, and to leave you with a video that you guys should watch. Make sure you watch the last video where Yo went to the coffee and chocolate expo.
Coffee and Chocolate Expo. Yeah. I was messing up the name so much. Oh my gosh. But it was so cool. I'm telling you guys. And I have something special coming that we're planning. We're really into the cacao. Yeah. We love which is chocolate. And I think that's something we want to get into on the island as a new business venture in the future.
Yeah, so make sure you check that video out. And with that being said, bye bye.